Doing well. Hope everybody's fine. Hope you can hear me well. I hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. And welcome again to another weekly apostate. Weekly apostate number 4. Actually, this is going quite well. I hope everyone is doing fine. I am quite okay. For those who are asking, for those who have been asking, I know I always want to leave like 2 minutes or so at the beginning and come after that, so that I don't know, so that everyone is there from the beginning, so that those who come late don't miss the show. As if there is so much to see. It's just me. Anyways. Hope you're all having a great time. I will again talk about several issues, several things that I have on my mind regarding Islam, several things that people ask about. And then I will also go into questions to, again, talk about matters that you might want to ask about in the moment. I will respond to super chats. And this is what I'm going to do right now. I want to say a quick thing. I made these little chats, these little live streams, weekly apostate, because I was looking at how things go, at the planning of my videos, and I realized that I used to make videos every Wednesday and every Friday, and recently I couldn't really keep up with that anymore, and I couldn't really do that. I couldn't do videos every Wednesday and every Friday, so I thought I have to be there though. I'm busy, but I have to at least, I should at least be there once a week and to have a live talk. And that's how I decided to make these weekly apostate episodes. In these, I would love to answer some questions that people ask me, because over that time I realized that there are so many things that people ask of me that I never ever find the time to get to all of that. So if there are things that you want me to talk about that I could spontaneously talk about, then I would lovingly take the opportunity and talk about those things here in the weekly apostate live streams. Of course, it would be better if I gave these streams a title, except saying weekly apostate. But I could do that if you ask topics, especially my Patreon supporters, people who support me on Patreon. If you want to forward questions to me, I would lovingly respond to them here during this live chat. All right. A few things quickly from the beginning. There are still people who talk about Mohammed Hijab. Mohammed Hijab approached me, made a collection, a six hour collection of videos made by two individuals who tried to get my attention before, and who tried to make videos so I respond to them so that their channel grows. They even said that. In fact, the person who made those videos, who uploaded those videos, begged me in the messages to respond to him. He said, "Come on, please respond to this one. Please respond to this one." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll think about it." But then I didn't, because seemingly it was just a bunch of nonsensical refutations, a bunch of nitpicking, and I didn't want to give those people any attentions. And they then approached Mohammed Hijab because they see him like a big brother. And Mohammed Hijab then made a 6-hour video about me in which he thoroughly insulted me and my audience, used filthy language, and then said, "I would like to have a debate with you." And I thought, I'm not going to have a debate with you, because it is very clear. I always said I'm open to debates. I'm open to accepting debates from Muslim apologists, from Muslim scholars, and Muslims who have opinions about these matters. But one thing needs to be clear: if you want to challenge me for a debate, then you should actually want to have a debate with me. You shouldn't want to insult me and threaten me and say stupid, dumb things. He later went on and made a bunch of stupid accusations, used very filthy language against my mother and my sister and my wife. And of course I rejected that. Now, the Muslims who say, "Why did you reject a debate with Mohammed Hijab?" should ask themselves, if Mohammed Hijab is so confident in his that he would have a debate with me and he would, turn out to be the victorious one, because that's what he thinks a debate is, then why didn't he just have the need to approach me in a reasonable way? If he's so confident, then why didn't he just ask me, "Hey, I think you are wrong. and I would like to have a debate with you. I would have accepted that. I would have completely accepted that. Why didn't he do that? Dear Muslim sycophants who suck up to their big Muslim apologists who want to act like tough guys on the internet and insult people's mothers and families. Why didn't your friend have the confidence to just come here and say, hey, I disagree with you and I want to have a debate with you? Why did he have to go after family and sister and wife and all that stuff? Is that what you Muslims are about? I mean, that is what many of you are about, and many of us know that. But ask yourselves that. I'm not going to give enough time for people like that. I had a debate with Nader Ahmed, who is a Muslim apologist, who said that he would defeat me in a debate, and I don't want to say very much about how that went. He wasn't very respectful, but you have seen that if people want to confront me and if people want to be dirty with me during a debate, then I can respond to them in kind. I can respond to them in their language. I did that, but I don't want to have those debates because that's not what a debate is. I could debate anybody on any topic. I would like to debate anybody on any topic. Not only Islam, just many other topics. But when I want to debate, then I want debates to be about, speaking about our differences and, talking to each other about why my position makes more sense to me and why your position doesn't make sense to me, why your position probably makes sense to you, whatever. And the audience can then listen to this and calmly decide. Debates are not places where people should be insulting each other and using the audience to cheer and to say, to bully people and to turn it into an MMA fight and whatever those childish people want to make it. Your Muslim apologists are children. They are a bunch of children, and their audience are also a bunch of children. I can't take them seriously. I can't give them any more time. So if seriously, ask yourselves, if people want to, if your heroes want to have debates, then why don't they just ask for debates instead of asking for ring fights? Why don't they go and have cage fights then? Because that's where they belong. That's where they belong. Why don't they go and fight dogs? Because that's where they belong. Anyways, I'm not a man of arrogance. I don't like to get into these whole pissing contests and whatever. This is about information to me. In my own space, I might be an ass every now and then, but if I want to go and speak to other people, to grown-ups, then I want to act like a grown-up, not like a child who is, who has just learned to play with his friends and wants to bully others. Anyways, that said, I want to talk about several issues that I have on my mind, and one of those issues is Jinns. Yesterday, I was thinking about I was talking to my wife about how troubled I was as a teenager and as a child because of the issue of jinns and because of Satan. In Islam, Satan is a huge scare story. Children are told that Satan wants to manipulate them and come after them and derail them and wants to lie to them and he waits in he hides and he wants to trick you and all that stuff. And you learn that these creatures called jinns are out there, and jinns are in our world. They live among us, and we cannot see them, but they are good jinns and bad jinns, and the bad jinns can be everywhere, and they can do bad things to us outside. They can scare us, and they can want to have relationships with us. In fact, there was a video that I would love to, that I wish I had prepared here, that I could show, in which this Muslim guy was talking about how if women dress inappropriately, that jinns might see them and might like them and might want to have relationships with them and might even want to violate them, have non-consensual sex with them and stuff like that. This is the bunch of nonsense that you learn as a Muslim. If ex-Muslims are here, I'm sure ex-Muslims are here, but even if Muslims are here, you should tell your stories. As a child, I learned so much that jinns are out there, and that jinns are there to scare us, and jinns can be evil and all that stuff, and that Satan was also a jinn. And that Satan was also a jinn, that he was condemned. That there is a thing that many people who are Christians, for example, don't know about. In Christianity, in Christian tradition and theology, Satan is an angel who has fallen and who has become evil and whatever. In Islam, it's not the same. In Islam, Satan was actually a jinn, and jinns are creatures that are created from smokeless fire, according to Islamic theology, according to Islamic scripture. Jinns are creatures created of smokeless fire, and those creatures are just like humans. They also have a life like us. They live and die. They are good and evil. They make decisions. They go to heaven and hell. They're pretty much equal to humans. Humans are just kind of a level higher, a grade higher, or something like that. And in fact, the Quran speaks to jinns too. The Quran says in many places, "O humans and jinns." When the Quran lists its orders, it also speaks to jinns, not only to humans. In fact, the Quran even says that that prophets were sent to jinns. So there were also some jinn prophets, some invisible prophets out there that would talk to jinns. And we learn all that stuff. Of course, as a Muslim, you don't really think about the fault in all of this. Later, when you start doubting Islam, when you leave Islam, or even if you question Islam, if you study Islam, when you are a Muslim, you realize that this whole jinn issue is unique to Islam and Abrahamic religion. There is no such thing in Christianity or Judaism. Now, some Muslim apologists try to object here and say, "Oh, well, demons exist in Christianity," but no, it's not the same. In Christianity, demons are creatures. Demons are considered creatures that are evil in nature, that are evil, noun evil, and that they were cast out by Jesus, for example, back then. That's how far Christian theology goes. Christianity and Judaism don't have creatures that live among us, that are just like humans, that are good and evil, and that will also be judged in the afterlife and all that stuff. Demons, jinns, actually go back to pre-Islamic Arab mythology, to pre-Islamic Arab fantasies. Pre-Islamic Arabs used to think that jinns were creatures that roam the nights, roam the deserts at night, and roam dirty places and all that stuff. And Islam just adopted these beings as if they were something real, something that is part of Abrahamic religion. So Islam basically innovates jinns into Abrahamic religion, which kind of should beg the question, why would Islam do that? Doesn't that mean that Islam is kind of disconnected from Abrahamic tradition and religion? Why would Islam suddenly bring new things that Christians and Jews don't even know about, and that Christians don't believe in, or have never believed in, when Islam is supposed to be the third step after Judaism and Christianity, because Jews and Christians failed God and corrupted his scripture and whatever, all that bunch of nonsense. Anyways, I'll keep going on quickly. Adrian Crisandi said, "Hey, you are an atheist. You sound like Christian." I am an atheist. I don't sound like a Christian. I don't know. Is that directed at me? I am an atheist. I don't believe in God, and very soon I will probably release my whole project about why I don't believe in God. I have for several weeks tried to collect as much thought as I can in audio notes and written notes, so that I can make a proper video to answer that question, why I don't believe in God, because I think it's slowly time to answer that question. And I will do that. So yes, I am practically an atheist, although I don't really use that label very much. What people often don't understand is sometimes I compare Islam to Abrahamic religion. I compare Islam to Christianity and to Judaism, and talk about how Christianity doesn't have something that Islam has, or Islam has something that Christianity doesn't have, and how Islam contradicts the the knowledge of these Abrahamic religions. I talk about these issues because if Islam is in a big contradiction with Abrahamic religion, that this means that Islam lacks credibility. That something went wrong with Islam, because Islam claims that Allah is the same God who revealed the Bible, and that the Jews and Christians corrupted their scripture and all that stuff. And of course, if there are huge, major discrepancies between Islam and Abrahamic tradition, then this means that there is a problem, and this should prompt Muslims to further think about how something might be wrong with their religion. And in fact, it was one of the major things that happened to me when I think I stopped believing in Islam already, but I was still kind of questioning the motives and what is wrong with Islam. And one of the things that I noticed when I was further looking into it was that the figure Abraham, and that his whole story was completely changed on its way from Abrahamic religion into Islam, and it just didn't make sense. There were so many discrepancies, so many changes to the story of Abraham that shouldn't be there, because they don't benefit or harm Islam and the other religions in any way. So why were those changes made? Obviously, Islam got something wrong. And if Islam got something wrong, then this means that Islam's message, Islam's scripture, the Quran, is unreliable, that Allah is unreliable, which means that Islam is wrong. So the fact that Islam has discrepancies with Christianity and Judaism is something that I think is very important, and that people should really, really think about very often. Anyways, let me respond to a super chat by Slarty Bart Forest. Made a super chat. Thank you so much, Slarty. Here's a better debate topic. Which is your favorite Hitman game or version of H.G. Wells' Time Machine? Also, what are you studying? Oh, yeah, that was very personal. Okay. Well, my favorite Hitman game is actually the current Hitman second season that I'm playing on PlayStation. Yeah, I do that. If other people are interested in sharing their experiences with that, I would love to. I actually sometimes look for people to play together with. When it comes to H.G. Wells' Time Machine, I don't know. I watched the 1960 movie of the Time Machine, and when I watched that, that was when I was still very, very young. And I believe I watched it because my father said that he watched it when he was very young. And then I kind of had an interest in it, and it was so retro, and I really liked how it was done. Although I noticed back then already that the story is kind of the story doesn't completely make sense, and there are several issues with it, and of course it is not up to date and all that. But the 1960 is definitely still my favorite one, although I find the story meanwhile quite stupid. I even find the book, with all due respect to H.G. Wells, I found the story to be kind of a bunch of nonsensical dystopian communist propaganda. But of course, for the value that it carries, I still like it. I still like the fact that it exists. I don't like the new versions of it at all. There was one in 2002 or so. It sucked. It was an awful movie. Anyways, what am I studying? It's complicated because what happened in my past is that after high school I didn't continue and apply for college, because in those times I was kind of part of an Islamic sect that didn't really see a big future in us studying, and I kind of agreed with that, and therein lies the danger of belonging to a Sufi order. Sufi Islam is one of the stupidest things that you can that exists on this planet. I might have a little bias when I say the stupidest things, but it's definitely a very stupid thing. Sufi Islam is very, very stupid. Stay away from that one. It is not as violent and dangerous as traditionalist interpretations of Islam, but it is definitely very regressive and on a personal level extremely stupid and counterproductive. Definitely not for someone who wants to live a good life. Definitely not for people who want to contribute to the furthering and development of humans, of human progress. Sufism is very stupid, and as part of Sufism, I thought that I don't need to go to college, so I never applied to college after I finished high school, which was very dumb. And I still hate that about my past. Then afterwards, after I left Islam, I applied I applied for college again, and I was admitted to one of Turkey's best universities, which made me very happy. It was linguistics, but then I didn't have the possibility because I was now living on my own, far away from my family, and I was kind of being rebellious and trying to live by my own standards, and living in Istanbul by myself was very expensive and very hard, so I didn't really have the possibility to keep studying while doing that, so that failed again. But linguistics was kind of funny. Anyways, and then I wanted to. Anyways, over all those years, it didn't really work out, and now I'm here trying to get my credits again, trying to get my proper undergraduate degree, and I'm currently focusing on psychology. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through with that, but that is what I'm planning at this moment, because I've been quite interested in that a lot. I also realized that humans are very lacking in research and education concerning psychology. And I thought it would be awesome if I could study that and actually contribute to studies and research regarding psychology, instead of just using it for a career, for personal gain. I have quite a different vision of what I want to go to college for. I want to do something useful instead of just getting a career and just earning money, And that's kind of what I'm pursuing right now. I don't know if I'll actually stick to that, but that's currently the plan. But thank you so much for the super chat. Rishi Kashyap said, "Did Muhammad bring out any positive reform in Arabic society? Would you call him a reformer by standards of his time?" Okay, that is a very complicated topic, and I don't know if I really want to go so lengthily into this topic during a live chat, because the time is quite limited. I want to keep this more on topic about what I was talking about, and questions the viewers might have. And this is a very complicated thing that I want to talk about sometime. Maybe I could make a video about what I find good about Islam. And what I find good about Islam has actually nothing to do with what Islam teaches. It has more to do with what Islam is. Islam is an organized religion, and as far as the development of humans is concerned, as far as human evolution over time is concerned, I'm not talking about the biological evolution. I'm talking about evolution of humans as the knowledge of humans, the development of humans. As far as that is concerned, I think organized religion plays a great role in improving humans from primitive societies into more collected and advanced societies. And insofar, I believe that Islam actually added something good to some societies that it encountered. In fact, I was thinking recently about. I talked about this in one of my recent live chats. I was thinking about how some missionaries were going to some untouched tribe far in Southeast Asia, and they were trying to convert those people to Islam. And initially, I was kind of angry, and I thought, leave those people alone. They don't need your stupid religion. But then I thought, but those people, what they actually do is they run around naked with sticks and all that stuff. If they converted to Islam, they would suddenly catapult themselves a few decades or a few centuries into the future. And only in that regard, I think Islam is something good. But besides that, I think Islam is terrible. Because besides that, I think Islam is also, looking at today, so far in the past. It is so far behind Christianity, although it came after Christianity. It is even, I think, so far behind Rabbinic Judaism, although that came so long before Islam. It is so far behind our time, so far behind everything that we have today. Islam is a completely dangerously tribalistic, chauvinistic, violent, of course, misogynistic, very dangerous, dumb system and belief, and harmful to society. It has no place in today's world. It has no place in modern societies in Europe and all that. And we should stay away from it and get rid of it as a belief. Hope that answers your question. But thank you for the super chats, Rishi Kashyap. I'm going to collect these other super chats, because if I just want to respond to super chats right now, I will never get to what I was actually wanting to talk about. But if you want to make those super chats, I will definitely come back to those to super chats afterwards. I want to tell something about my childhood that I kind of recounted yesterday. Two things. When I was a child, I thought I had a dream of Satan, of the Islamic shaitan. In Islam, Satan is called shaitan. And I had a dream when I was a child where that I was in an attic, and my brother was there in this attic, and the attic was kind of it was very dark. It was reddish. I think there was some fire. There was something burning. And then I saw that there was a piece of wood, and under that piece of wood, something came crawling. And what came out crawling was apparently Satan in my head. That was my dream of Satan. That is what I dreamed as a child. And I was of course terrified. It had, this creature has these big eyes and comes toward me, and is slowly approaching me, and I'm terrified. And that nightmare haunted me for years, very very far into my teenage years even. And now, there are two funny things about it. I had that dream because I was told by my parents constantly that I have to be scared of jinns and of the shaitan, of Satan. That's why I was scared of that. That's why I had such a weird dream, and that, I believe, definitely messed with my mentality. That messed with my psychology. That is not something children should be subjected to, especially not thinking that it is something real. When you dream of something like that, you should as a child go to your parents, and your parents should say, hey, it's just a dream, there was just something wrong, that it's just bad. But as a child, I actually believed that was real, and there was no one to contest that, because what I learned from older people and from my parents and from scripture was that Satan is this scary guy who is there and who tries to eat my food with me if I don't say in the name of Allah before eating food, or who is there if I touch something, if I touch my food with my left hand, or who is even there if I pass wind, or I'm sorry, or if I go to the toilet the wrong way, and that he is constantly there to bug me and to scare me. And that is something you learn as a Muslim. It is messed up. And in fact, what I thought Satan looked like back then was this. I have no idea where that came from. I believe I might have seen that when I was a child, because it was popular back then. But give me 1 second. Open image here. Let me show you this. Some people might think this is familiar. Screen capture, monitor capture, desktop 1. All right, here. So this is what I thought Satan looked like. For those of you who don't know, this is I believe from the movie The Exorcist, which was in the 90s, as far as I know. This is what I thought Satan looked like, because that's kind of what I associated. This is the face that I associated with Satan in my head for some reason. Maybe I saw that as a child, and I thought, oh, is that Satan? And I didn't really think about that, but that's what happened in my subconscious, and this is what I then dreamt of, because I was told that Satan is some scary creature that wants to get me, and that is after me. And I don't know, I had a bunch of things. I once woke up from a nightmare where I saw a blue fist coming toward my face, and I thought that was a jinn, and I freaked out, and my mother didn't know what to do with me, and she had to kind of take me to the doctor in the middle of the night to find out what's going on with me, why I'm screaming and not stopping. I don't know. It's crazy that Islam, you keep believing that there are these jinn, and then you realize that the jinn are just mythical creatures that don't exist. You know, it's just a bunch of nonsense. It is a bunch of stupidity. It's a bunch of 7th century Arab desert mythology. It is scare stories. Arabs used to believe that Arabs used to believe that creatures called jinns are almost like gods, almost like the gods, like the idols, and they roam the nights. And this is what you as Muslims believe in. Dear Muslims, if you are here and if you honestly believe that jinns exist and that you need to be scared of jinns, please go and check which of those jinn stories that people tell each other actually turned out to be true. Who has ever proven the existence of jinns? Who has ever proven that jinns exist? What are jinns based on? Where do jinns come from? It is all just a bunch of primitive nonsense that yet you Muslims believe in, and in the rest of the world's eyes, it is completely laughable. I mean, look at yourself. Seriously, you believe in a bunch of 7th century ridiculous stupidity. Seriously, let go of it. Don't scare each other with that. Anyways, let's come to super chats. Gilgamesh of Uruk made a super chat and didn't say anything. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Gilgamesh of Uruk. Thank you very much. Hindu Historian made a super chat, always here, thank you Hindu Historian, and said, I know exactly how it feels to miss out on an excellent college opportunity due to things mostly outside your control. Feel for you. Thank you so much. You know, there was actually a thing, for quite a while, I didn't even want to be open about it. I didn't even want to be open about how I missed college and why I couldn't properly go to college, why I couldn't finish college and all that stuff, and I felt embarrassed, you know, it is a thing. It came together with my anxiety, and I thought it is embarrassing to say that I couldn't even get through with college. But then in private, I'm also so mad and so sad about the fact that out of my control, I was never able to finish college and never able to study what I really wanted to study. So it is really a terrible thing, and that is one more reason what makes me what really makes me hate how I experienced religion, how I experienced Islam, and how other people can be heavily disadvantaged by such upbringings. Because, you know, I have so much potential, so many other people have so much potential, and now I finally want to make use of that. Thank you, Hindu Historian, I appreciate that, and thanks for the super chat. James SC, also always here, thank you so much, made a super chat and said, does criticizing Islam-related problems within the Muslim community, like terrorism or grooming gangs in the UK and Netherlands, cause Muslims to hold on to Islamic identity more closely? How to avoid that from happening? So, whether criticizing Islam-related problems in Islamic society, community, like terrorism or grooming gangs, makes Muslims hold on to Islamic identity more closely. I think, interesting question. I think yes and no. I think some people who hear the constant criticism of grooming gangs and terrorism, for example, especially terrorism, most people still don't want to talk very much about grooming gangs because they find that this is a very problematic and embarrassing topic to them as Muslims. Especially concerning terrorism, for example, many people who are Muslims think that this is an agenda, that they think that this is an Islamophobic agenda, that people are out there trying to attack Muslims and Islam, and that's why they constantly keep tying Islam to terrorism or Muslims to terrorism. And this kind of seemingly confirms their Islamic indoctrination, where they always learn that non-Muslims, that the outer world, that people outside are enemies of Islam, and they want to malign Islam, and they want to take you out of the folds of Islam and turn you into non-Muslims and all that stuff. You know, they believe that this confirms their weird indoctrination of non-Islamic, anti-Islamic hostilities. So, insofar, people who hear this constant criticism of Islamic terrorism and grooming gangs and all that stuff, some of them think, some of them become more tied and more proud of their Muslim identity, and they think they have to protect it and they have to be loyal to it because it is under attack. On the other hand, I think that there are many people who, in the face of this whole criticism against terrorism and grooming gangs, question the whole notion that Muslims were more moral, or that Islam was superior, morally superior to other cultures, to other beliefs, and they come to question that entire thing. And I have witnessed many people who were ashamed of saying that they are Muslims because they don't want to be associated with Islamic terrorism, for example, or who are ashamed to say that they believe in Islam because of matters regarding women. In fact, we even have shows like that recently circulating, streaming services like Hulu. I just saw one yesterday. I haven't really watched it very much, that's why I don't want to say very much about it. But it goes both ways. You know, this criticism of problems in Muslim society pushes some people away from Islam and draws other people closer to Islam. It's really it's a turbulent, complicated topic. I believe that that we shouldn't even think about how to prevent that or how to make that better. I don't believe that we should focus on that at all. I think all we should do is, if there is a problem within Muslim society, such as terrorism, and there is, and violence, there is, and intolerance, against other beliefs, other cultures, women, homosexuals, and all that stuff, then we should address those issues. It doesn't matter whether people will be distanced from Islam or get closer to Islam. It doesn't matter at all. All we should do is stay true to the fact that there is something wrong happening, and we should be addressing that wrong thing. You know, it doesn't. You shouldn't think about the outcome of your criticism. You should rather think about why you want to criticize, because that's the reason that you criticize things for, or at least that's what it should be. You should criticize certain problems because those problems are problems, because they are wrong, not because you want to cause a certain effect. Like pushing people away or drawing people closer to that certain thing. That's my humble opinion. But thank you so much for the question, and thank you so much for the super chat, and for being here, James SC. I appreciate that. All right. Let me save some of these future super chats here, and I will come to them quickly. I just want to quickly scan the live chat and see what's going on here in this place. Man. Modern technology. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I should take a break from talking so much, right? I talked so much. I wouldn't want to listen to that. But I know you do, for some reason. Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm just forcing you to listen to me. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for the participation. Again, hope everybody is having a fantastic day. If you are here, don't forget to like the stream, to push the like button, and maybe to subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. For those who don't know, YouTube has this system where if you push the like button, that boosts a video, that pushes the video up in the recommendations and in the that makes the channel more popular, basically. So the like function is actually not just something that serves as a sign that you like this video. It actually has functions that determine how successful a channel is and how far its message spreads and all that stuff. So if you want to spread the message of this channel, the slightest contribution would be just to push the like button, for example, and to share this, to subscribe. But the slightest would be just to push a like button, and I appreciate that very much. Okay. Wonderful. 121 Jones said, I like listening, AP. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Of course, I'm just, I sometimes make arrogant jokes, but I just make that because I like to make fun of myself, because that's so much fun. if you can't make fun of yourself, then you shouldn't. Then you can't really make fun of everything, and you can't really enjoy humor very much. I think the best way to enjoy humor is to make fun of yourself. That really makes you much more happy and confident. Anyways, 121 Jones said again, millions are leaving Islam. That is true. In fact, I'm working on a project called The End of Islam, and I will share more updates about that quite soon, hopefully. Trailblazing Allah said, can you unlock my comments on your threads? Thanks. Unlock my comments. I don't block or lock comments or anything at all. If anything happens, if your comments get lost in the stream or in the comment section, that is because YouTube has a very dumb system of a spam folder that YouTube hasn't fixed in 2 years or more. In fact, I haven't checked recently, but there is a spam folder, this likely spam folder, and there are so many comments in that spam folder. If I just want to check, let me do that, and in fact, let me show that to you for all those people who think creators who think YouTube channels block videos. Look, let me share this right here. As far as you can see from right here, do you see this? It says likely spam 42,000. So according to my YouTube interface here, there are 42,000 comments held in my likely spam folder that I'm supposed to go through and approve or reject. When I first started my YouTube channel, I actually did that. I was actually dumb enough to think that I can control this. And I would check this like several times a day and would approve comments. I would just almost approve everything. I would just go here and approve everything. But now it has accumulated to 42,000 comments that YouTube thinks is likely spam. YouTube channels, YouTube creators have been pointing this mistake out forever. That there is this stupid bug going on, that YouTube randomly marks comments as spam, and that needs to be solved. That YouTube needs to set these comments free, but YouTube isn't doing anything about it. Most likely because they don't know how to solve this problem, because they are so deep in this dirt now that they have no idea how to solve it. It is really amazing how YouTube manages this platform. I'm really surprised how they still continue having a stable video streaming platform. That is really crazy. I mean, thanks YouTube for making it possible for us to make these live streams and to post these videos. But please fix these bugs, because it's very embarrassing. Anyways, back to super chats. Ari Wasserman said in a super chat, fellow prophet. I think you're saying fellow prophet because you're a member on the channel, and you are now called a prophet as well. By the way, you can become a member down there through the join button, and you can be called a prophet together with me. Fellow prophet, have you thought about doing a live interview with Aynaz Anni Cyrus? She's an ex-Muslim from Iran who exposes Islam and has gotten 11 fatwa on her head. Peace be upon us. I have thought about it. I even talked to her before. I said, hey, we should make a live stream together sometime. And she said, hey, yes, let's do it. But then I didn't go ahead with that. I'm just so busy. I don't know when to do what. But I might include her. I will definitely include her in the Apostates series, which should go on very soon. Thank you for the super chat, Ari Wasserman. I appreciate that. Or Wasserman. Quantum Cosmos QC made a super chat and said, AP, do you support the Hindus' way of thinking? Spiritual atheism through theism. There are many ways. All beliefs lead to one reality, and that is one's inner peace and karma system. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your super chat. I don't believe that there is a thing called karma. I think I think it is an old, outdated spiritual belief that I think doesn't reflect reality at all. There is a clouded, blurry Western understanding of what karma is, where people think, oh, it's just, we do something and then naturally we have, we get something in return as a consequence of our actions, and that might be good or bad. But karma is actually a deep spiritual system that is taught in Hinduism. And I don't believe that it reflects the truth and reality in any way. I think it's an outdated, superstitious belief, to be very honest, if you ask me. But that is just my opinion. You can keep believing in it. And so I don't believe in it. I don't believe that we are all spiritually connected, that there is anything like that going on. What I do believe is that that some of the methods of Hinduism and Buddhism, or even monotheistic religions, serve to further understand ourselves and to reach a state where we can be more in control of our impulses and our desires and all that stuff. I have recently been thinking about that. I thought about how if I wanted to fast now from today to until 2 days later, the same time. So if I wanted to fast for 48 hours, it will probably be very hard for me. And so many times during that time, I would probably almost be forced by myself again to go and eat something. I might even not be successful. I might go and break my fast by eating something. But why is that? Why can I not make a decision to stick to a certain thing and then go through with it? Why can I not be completely in control of myself? Why am I so much a slave of my impulses and desires? And then I thought that it's probably therefore useful that religions have a way of making you focus on having more self-control. Abrahamic religions make that more by taking control of your of yourself, of your ego, and submitting that to the will of God, for example. In Judaism, you have a covenant with God that you want to strictly hold on to because you are the people of God and you made a promise. In Christianity, that is Christ-like, and that is what you are supposed to do, and that is good. Because God is good and God wants goodness from you, and that is good. In Islam, it is submission. You are supposed to submit your inner self, your ego, to the Almighty Allah. In Buddhism and Hinduism, for example, it is to find inner peace, to connect with the world and with the. You know what I mean. I don't think I'm a master of the words of Hinduism and Buddhism yet. But insofar, I think they have a good function. I said insofar several times today. But in that regard, I think Eastern dharmic beliefs, Hinduism and Buddhism, have a good function. But I don't believe in the whole spiritual part of it, and it would be very exhausting for me to actually believe in that. All right. Also, something to add. Bad things happen to good people too. I don't believe that there is a system in the world where all your bad actions result in bad outcomes and come back in bad ways to you, and all your good actions come back in good ways to you. I don't believe that is true. I think that is just something that people made up because they couldn't deal with the fact that some people do good things and don't get anything in return, or some people do very terrible things and just get away with that. And Eastern beliefs interpret that as if you do something good, you will get something good in return, and if you do something bad, you will get something bad in return. While monotheistic Abrahamic beliefs, at least after Christianity, believe that you will get your reward or punishment in the afterlife. I believe people should just, from my perspective, I think people should just deal with the fact that some people get away with bad things, and many people don't get anything in return for good things that they do. But so much about what I believe. I sometimes would like to make a second channel and just talk about these things forever, because there's so much that I want to talk about these things, but I don't want to talk about them here on this channel, because this channel should be more about Islam and less about what I actually believe, because I believe there are too many channels that are about what people themselves believe. All right, but thank you so much, Quantum Cosmos. Someone said that is too simplistic. I believe it's just reality. Reality is very simple. I believe people overcomplicate things very much because they can't accept the simple truths of the reality that we live in. But that's just me. Gilgamesh of Uruk made a super chat. Thank you for your super chat, Gilgamesh Uruk. And said, I am researching the Ottoman public default. If you are interested, we can make a video about it. Islam played a negative role in finance. Cheers. I believe Islam played a negative role in so many things, especially when it comes to the Ottomans. But Ottomans were also had some terrible policies that were that they made due to Islam or despite Islam that brought their own end. I was just thinking about how Islam formed a giant army of a giant class of soldiers from kidnapped Christian children known as the Janissaries. And they actually raised kidnapped Christian children and formed a giant class of soldiers, which became the strongest army in Europe. And people were terrified of the Janissaries. And it was the first organized giant army in Europe. And that also brought the end. I don't know why Ottomans ever thought that was a great idea. Other people probably didn't do such a powerful thing because they were afraid of it, and Ottomans were not. But what you do is, as an Islamic empire, you kidnap non-Muslim children, and then you turn them into your slaves and soldiers, and then they bring your end. That is of course an awesome thing that can happen to a Muslim empire. But contact me on Twitter, please, or per email, and I can look at that. I am very behind in my Twitter messages and emails, so excuse me for that. But I would definitely be interested in that. Piotr Gorechki said, why do you do videos with David Wood? Because I consider David Wood a friend, and I'm interested in his perspectives, and I think that he is a very fair person, what concerns the criticism of Islam. I don't care that he's a Christian. He doesn't care that I'm an atheist, and I appreciate that, and that is also one of the main reasons that I am friends with David, and that I also work with him. Because I don't do the whole tribalistic thing, like I only work with you if you believe in exactly what I believe, and you should only accept me if I believe in exactly what you believe. That is, I think, a very a counterproductive tribalistic perspective. Yeah, but thank you for your question and thank you for your comments. Running Shoes Pro said in a super chat. Learned in school Ottomans Tolerant. Then I met Greeks, read about Assyrian Christians, Armenian genocide, learned oppression of Bulgarians, Lepanto Janissaries. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your comment, Running Shoes Bro. You learn very often that Ottomans were a very tolerant empire, a very tolerant society. But then you learn also about all the atrocities that were committed under the Ottomans. Something that you didn't mention here, for example, is how Serbia was treated under some of the Ottoman beyliks, some of the Ottoman beys, rulers, local rulers. Serbians basically have historical records of how they were oppressed and massacred, and how their most holy places were destroyed by the Ottomans. And there's so much bad stuff that happened on the Ottomans. And we only talk about non-Muslim victims too. What we should also talk about is how the Ottomans oppressed other Muslims in their empire, and how other Muslim societies that were not Sunni Muslims were massacred and fought and died for freedom. But you could say that the Ottoman Empire was in many ways much more modern and more tolerant than other Islamic empires, and that they were, and some people would like to point out that they were therefore tolerant, that means that Islam is also tolerant, but that doesn't make sense. The issue with the Ottoman Empire is that the Ottomans were in many ways very un-Islamic, and the general Muslim populations in many Muslim lands under the rule of the Ottoman Empire didn't like how the Ottoman rulers ruled things, because the Ottomans were in many ways, as said, considered very un-Islamic, considered very un-Muslim. They were thought of as being perverted, as being as corrupting Islam. So the Ottomans are definitely not a great example of how tolerant Islam is. All right. C Punish 1 said in a super chat, "Thank you, AP, for your efforts and dedication for the truth." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the participation, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I should be going. My throat is killing me. And 1 hour is almost over. Okay, Johnny Blaze 031 said, "Love your work, AP. Keep up the great job, brother." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your comment, for your participation. Thank you for being here. Ask Jesus, apostate prophet, what is the best thing I can say or do to get Muslims out of their false religion from hell? There is so much here. I don't know even what to begin with, but I don't know. You can. I talked about so many things. You can maybe look through my channel. You'd look through what people thought were the best videos, the best points that I made ever, and maybe you can go ahead with that. I believe that that one thing that is complicated, but that Muslims should be confronted about, is that Allah is a very questionable. Historically, a very questionable deity, and not similar to the deity that that Christians and Jews worship. But more to that, you can find more to that in 2 videos that I made. One of which is Allah gets his name wrong, and the other is Allah and Yahweh. Is Allah the same God that Christians and Jews worship? I would definitely recommend those 2 videos if you want to really hit hard in terms of theology and the origins of Islam. All right. Norris Bertha said, "You rule." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for everything. Carol said, "Feel better." I will. It's just from talking. Okay, well, I should get going. One more final super chat. Jenny Elif said, "Hi AP, I'm from Germany. We love you here." Thank you so much. Vielen Dank, Jenny. Grüße nach Deutschland. Grüße an Deutschland. Dankeschön. I love Germany. What I would always love to tell Germans is please to appreciate Germany. All right. Donald said, "You are on Twitter again. I thought they had banned you." They banned me before, but then after Richard Dawkins and many others kind of protested, Twitter unblocked my accounts, so I'm back on Twitter. I have now one Twitter account at Apostate Ridvan. You can follow me on there. I'm quite active there. All right, thank you so much, everybody. I will leave, and I will see you again next week with Weekly Apostate number 5. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you have listened. I appreciate your comments, your questions. Thank you so much. And now someone made a super chat. I don't want to waste super chats here. Would you please watch Time of Violence and research whether it is true or Soviet propaganda? It's 80s film about Ottoman oppression in Bulgaria, 17th century. I will make a note of that. Thank you so much for running Shoes Pro. I appreciate it. I will have a look. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Have a fantastic week. And as always, stay away from Islam.